Any hard to practice in that today?
Nah, it was easy. It was interesting yesterday when because we had the doors open while we were lifting, so I was benching and then I watched ash just kind of cross my face. So that was interesting, but
Does it feel like LA?
a little bit. I mean, LA don't have great weather, like as far as that. So I mean, hopefully it clears up. I'm used to seeing the trees and the skyline and everything. I can barely see the planes flying through. So.
A couple games in, just what have you seen out of the defense so far, and what do you need to get out of this third preseason game when you guys are going to play more?
I felt like I seen a lot of guys kind of take the coaching to the field. I see guys flying around. I think we gotta find a way to get the ball. We gotta create more turnovers. We gotta do a better job. Getting off to a better start, not letting them run the ball. But I think a lot of that comes with time, getting to understand. There's a lot of new faces, so we're still gonna trying to learn everybody. But I like where we're at, and I think this will be a game to kind of show the progression.
You mentioned that it takes time to get that. How important is this third preseason game then, given that this is the longest that the starters that unit gets to work together?
This is gonna be a big one. Just from the essence of it's another game that we can play, another opportunity we get to play a long period of time together. So it's going to be, it's going to be fun. Actually, to get out there, it's kind of hard. When you go out there and at some point they're going to take you out. But we know that we're going to play a majority of the snaps, and we just got to keep progressing. I think as long as we just keep showing improvement, I think we're going to hit our strides come a season opener.
What's been the challenge for you with all the new guys? For you personally, what's the challenge? How do you?
I would say the communication part. I think that was the big thing with us. Being able to play with each other for so long. There was a lot of nonverbal communication that we had. There was a lot of certain ways that you played with a person just because you played with them for so long. So for me, certain players kind of get hit a reset. And have to relearn, certain players and relearn, certain styles and things of that nature. So even how guys play up front, you got to learn, how they hit certain plays. And, I think, we're doing a good job, and it's always great to have a guy like KJ with you still. So, we right now 7 years strong. So.
Does that mean you have to be more verbal at the snap or right before the snap, take the extra seconds to actually talk?
Yeah, you definitely have to be more verbal. Definitely have to. I find myself over communicating. A lot of times, last year, like you said, like I said, we played with each other for so long that you could say it once and maybe they didn't hear it. They know. But you don't want to make that mistake to think or assume that they know. So me and KJ are over communicating right now.
What was the biggest difference between the first drive and the second drive for the starting off against the Chargers?
I think just calm it down. I think that's pretty much what it is. Rivers is a good quarterback. I think the first play he kind of just threw the ball up and made a play, which him out of the pocket is rare. But I think after that, after we settled down, after we play the game, they didn't get much on us. I think all that's just time and playing together.
At this point, could you imagine Earl not showing up when the games get real? Do you still expect he'll be here when the season begins?
I don't know. Honestly, I really don't know. It's an interesting thing, man. You want him to be here. I want him to be here. But at the same time, too, there's a business side of this thing. And, sometimes that takes over, what you should be doing. And, I think you see it a lot right now from the defensive side. You have amazing players that are not getting paid or not getting, their money. And I think at some point you have to, make a stand. Every year they're making the game harder and harder for a defensive player to play. They got this new helmet rule that they don't even know how to officiate right now. And, we're doing our best to adjust. And, I just think that, I think defensive players are just as important as offensive players. If you don't have a defense, you don't have, this league doesn't exist. So I feel like, defensive players do need to kind of stand the ground just to show, like, we just as important. You see all the offensive guys getting paid, and, we're just as important. And, so for me, from that standpoint, it's like it's hard to really tell somebody like that what to do. Because, does he deserve to get paid? I mean, look at him, all pro, Pro Bowls, not, best safety in the league, not many safeties like him. So, at some point you got to do what you got to do, business-wise, because our years are numbered. You know what I mean? You don't know, I think he's been in the league 8-9 years. You don't know how many more years he got. So, you gotta make sure you take care of the business side. And unfortunately, sometimes that comes in the way of playing on the field.
Is that a common thought among defensive players? And obviously, you see the quarterbacks getting paid, but you also see pass rushers getting paid. To defensive players in general feel slighted.
Me personally, I'm not really thinking like that. I think it's something that you're aware of, something that you're a little bit conscious to. But I think at the end of the day, you gotta know your worth, and you gotta know your value, and you can't let somebody else set your value. And so I think that's from that standpoint, you know your value, and you know what you're willing to play under and what you're not, because I think it's, it's always that thing, when they want you to take a pay cut, it's like, we have to, make that decision. But when we ask for more money, it's a big deal. So the business side of things is interesting, and that's why, you kind of let it play out itself. You can't really tell what someone else is going to do.
Are you thinking consciously on the field at all about, you mentioned the head rule and all of that. Are you having to think more about what you're doing when you approach a runner and things like that?
Me? Nah, I don't. I've always used my hands. I've never hit with my head. I mean, I work out my shoulders, you know what I mean? So much, there's no reason for me to hit with my head. So these new rules don't necessarily affect me personally because I never really hit with my head. So I'm not thinking about where to hit a person. I'm just doing what comes naturally to me. But, when you see some of the hits that you're seeing that are getting flagged, it makes you wonder, like, what are you supposed to do? And I think I said it before, you got to have to figure it out because, you can't just keep giving the offense to the benefit of the doubt. We're trying to stop them from scoring. And if he leads with his head, what are we supposed to do? Like, that's the only thing that we're left to hit. So, I think they're working it out. Hopefully they figure it out. I think as a defensive players, we've always done a great job of adjusting. So I'm not too worried about it. I'm not thinking about it. But I'm pretty sure I'll be thinking about it if I get a fine.
In the past, when there have been the new rules or points of emphasis, have you seen them call that more vigilantly in the preseason and maybe back off a little bit in the regular season?
Yeah, I mean, that was my understanding of what was going to happen. They were going to call it a little bit more during the preseason just to kind of, because it's a new rule. So you're kind of trying to get a feel of what you're going to call. So I'm hoping that that's the case because, if you watch some of the games, it is, kind of affecting the play of the game and affecting, certain things. So I'm hoping that they're not calling it like this during the season. But, I think just like this preseason is a learning time. It's basically a glorified practice. So, I think they're practicing as well. And, hopefully they get it right before first game.
Is it a matter of just finding the right way to enforce it? Because like the Watkins hit on Jerron Brown last week, that was leading with a helmet jumping at that guy. That seemed like it's a pretty clear violation of what they're trying to get out. Yeah. As opposed to there's been obviously tackles this preseason that look as clean as could be and still flag. Is it just a matter of finding? Is there an avenue for an emphasis here that could be correct if it's called right?
From my understanding, I was thinking the rule kind of played into the fact of like, like the Gronk hit last year, he got suspended on the defensive player, like he not even looking and came and speared him in the head, and I think got suspended for a game. I was thinking the helmet rule kind of played more towards like hits like that, or like that hit where it's just like, you don't have to hit that guy, in the head, but. There's, certain plays. I think it was Jacksonville on the right sideline. I think it's number 21. He got ran over, and they called a flag on him. Like, and if you get, fine for that. You know, as a defensive player, that's just like, you know, check all the negatives off. You got ran over and you got fined. And you know what I mean? Like, so, you know, what do you want us to do? You know, so it's just like we got to just figure out what they're going to call. I think we got to get a feel for what they're going to call. Me personally, I'm not too worried about it because, like I said, I don't hit with my head. I'm hoping it encourages guys to not hit with their head. But at the end of the day, you know, if it's like you know, 3rd and 1 and you know, Cam Newton tries to jump over the pile, he leads the ball out and then takes it away and all you have is his head. I don't know what you expect it to do if I'm midair, you know. I don't know how to fly, so I can't alter my, you know, my direction in the air, so.
Considering the business aspects of it and the defensive players, stuff you mentioned earlier, are you more appreciative that KJ decided to come instead of maybe potentially hold out like he could have?
No, you definitely have to appreciate guys like KJ because he's been here, he's been and hasn't missed a practice, you know, been available, and he's letting that play out. But you know, there's also a side to that. You know, if you don't get the deal done, you know, you give a guy like that an opportunity to, you know, walk away. So it's like, as a team, what do you know, you have to figure out what you want to do and, you know, who do you want to pay. And that comes from, you know, the guys upstairs. But, you know, when you have certain situations where, you know, you got guys that hold out, but you got guys that stay and do all the right things and, you know, is a leader in the room, is a guy that everybody looks up to, you can't let a guy like that walk away. So, you know, I think for me, if you let a guy like that walk away, it'd be telling, you know, and I think it would, you know, people watch and see how you move. So you can't let a guy like that, a leader like that, you know, a person who's doing everything right, that you don't have to worry about off the field, that you know is going to take everything on the field, you can't let a guy like that walk away.
Did you guys talk about that, like preseason, you and KJ, what he would do this year, like this summer for preseason?
No, we didn't talk about it. You know, KJ is a professional. I know he's going to be here. This is a big year. You know, this is the first year having Norton back, and, you know, we're not trying to miss no days out because, as you can see, you know, it kind of, you know, got cut short, you know. So we're very fortunate to get him back and very fortunate to be around, and I think we just, you know, enjoying each other's time and let everything else play out.
With all that, with KJ's situation, with Earl's, obviously it's an impasse. The team's dug in, so's Earl. Do you think about your situation coming up, and what does this may mean for me, or is it not related at all?
I'm not thinking about it. You know, I think, you know, once you think about it, you know, it takes away from your game. I'm not really thinking about it. I'm here. I want to be here for my whole career. That's a, you know, a goal of mine. I also understand the business. You know, hopefully I play with KJ my whole career. That is a, you know, goal of mine as well. And, you know, we'll see, you know, for me, I just kind of let things play out. But, you know, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Anything else?
Good. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Bob. Thank you.